G'day traders, welcome to a wrap up of Tuesday the 18th of October. On the daily chart, before we start today, the market's definitely in an upwards trend. However, yesterday, after hitting a resistance area, it actually pulled back quite heavily off that resistance area. So there's always a chance that this morning some of the sellers might continue that pullback, but bearing in mind we are in a buyer's market, so at any stage the buyers could come in and take over. So in the pre-market, the market pretty much went sideways, so it didn't really consolidate whether the buyers or the sellers wanted to take over for the day. But when we opened up the market, after hitting this original power point, the market sold off really quite quickly and came down hard. So if you were a seller or you're looking, thought the sellers were definitely around and going to take control for the morning, this is probably a power point that you could look at selling back into the market, which would have worked quite well. But from there the buyers came back in quite quickly, and indicated that definitely they were around and might want to take control. So it was at this power point here where we pulled back. David was looking to buy here, right at the start of the buyers basically, but when he looked at some of the other indices at this particular time, they were pushing down a little bit heavy. So the sellers were a little bit strong at this stage, and just temporarily we decided to leave that one go. So then it pushed up again. Once it got to this point here, this is basically the last resistance of the sellers. So once we pushed up through this area, it was definitely evident that the buyers were around and probably going to have a really good crack at today. So that's what happened from there. They pushed up, also with yesterday's close as a magnet, so pushed up straight through that. We actually had a 5-minute buy here, so you can see the entry for the 5-minute buy is sitting right above the power point. I'll come back to that when we bring up the 5-minute chart. The market just continued up. This yellow didn't slow it down whatsoever. Came up to here, then pulled back to a purple here. So in a buyer's market, this is a great purple to take as a buy, or to look to take as a PowerPoint entry. So it's one that we looked at buying. But once again, the other indices, we watched them closely, and they indicated that just a few sellers around, it just might push through down through it, which it ended up doing. So what we decided to do is actually wait, let that one go by, and take a buy here, which we took for 2 points. Could have got 9, 10 points out of it in the end, but David just wanted to take his 2 points and make sure we get that profit. So this particular setup here, really good one to take when you've got a buyer's market like we have, and you've got a strong upwards trend, which we got here, from 86 to 1202. So there's a good 16-18 point trend. Look for the second power point pullback. Quite often the first one, like this one, will fail just because we've had such a heavy trend. So some sellers are going to come in, release that pressure, or some of those profit takers, and then look for the buyers to come back if you're of the opinion that the buyers are still around on the second power point, which is what we did there. It worked really well. From there, it pushed up through this green. So on a day like today, that green was always going to struggle to work. And then we basically come up here to midday where we had lunch. Just slide the chart along. So we went sideways for a little bit here through this lunch period. So we're hitting about 1 o'clock here. So this is where, once again, we look to see what the market's going to do. Do we think the buyers are going to continue, or is there a chance that the sellers are going to come in? This particular day, it looked like the buyers never really wanted to give up, and that's what happened. We kept hitting continuous upper power points. You can see along here, there's no lower power points getting hit. Every time it came within a lower power point, it just swung around and headed back to the upside. Right here, there's another 5-minute entry here, which I'll come back and talk to about in a second. Righty, so the market is steadily heading up, not giving the sellers a chance. Some sellers did come in here. It's probably at this stage here if the sellers did want to take over. This was their opportunity. But once again, none of the other markets wanted a bar of it. The ES probably pulled back the hardest, and the other markets certainly didn't have any pullback. So it was quite evident that the buyers were going to continue. And then in the afternoon here, I guess the banks and institutions really decided to take over, and they bought the markets right up there, and you could see they charged up with quite a bit of volatility to where we are currently now. So basically for the day there was 40 power points hit, so quite a strong volatile day, and overall there was a 45 point range, so heaps of opportunity for the day. Righto, so I've got the 5-minute chart up here now. So 2 signals for the day. So this first one here, not a bad area, especially because the buyers are definitely around, so the market pulled back it was very evident that markets wanted to go towards and test these highs and even make higher highs. So a good area to take a 5 minute. However, just the entry was very tough, and one I wouldn't take because of the entry. Basically, for a couple of reasons. Two very extended candles. Okay, so when you've got an entry at the end of a very extended candle, there's a chance you're going to get a bit of a pullback. Even if it wants to go higher, you're going to get a bit of a snapback. So chances are it can hit our stops, which are only 5 ticks. So we've got to keep that in mind. And also the entry of this particular 5 minute, it was right on top of a power point. So you want to take them at a power fade entry or bouncing off a power point. So this was at the basically after it already pushed through a power point. So once again, you got that extension already. So the chances are that the market could pull back a little bit. In the end, it didn't. Worked really well. But you got basically got to stick to your guns and decide beforehand what you want to do. And this one, even though it was a good area, it's one I probably would have left alone just because of the entry. However, if you took it, you wouldn't be blamed for taking it, that's for sure, because of the fact it's going to make higher highs and the buyers that are around. Okay, so then the market continued to push up. We got another buy here after lunchtime. So this one was basically just a decision of whether you think the buyers were still around and whether they had enough to go again and make higher highs. So it's made a high here, pull back. No, it's a good area if you think the buyers are still around and going to make higher highs. This particular one, the entry was 6 ticks before the power point, so not a bad entry. It's around that power fade entry. The market, it pulled back. A lower power point failed, and then some green candles came in quite heavily. So there was definitely pressure on the upside there. Some of the other indices also were coming up, charging up pretty heavily. So overall, this one here, especially if you thought the buyers could continue on, it was a very good opportunity. Just at the time, it was very iffy as to whether we were actually going to get the 5 minute signal. The predictive was crossing over and was very close to whether it would or wouldn't cross over. So basically, I guess in this particular case, you've got to make a decision whether you're going to take it or not take it, and whether you get the signal or not, I guess just go with it. But overall, based on the entry in the area, not a bad 5 minute trade there. And that was it for the 5 minute trades for the day. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you guys soon.